So there's another concept in keeping your camper cool. I wanted to share this concept for a while, but I keep forgetting about it because I plan on doing it with my trailer. It's a very cheap way of doing it and very, very effective. Oh, by the way, if you want to see this other guy that's building a trailer that's a single axle, it's a smaller trailer. I think it's 8 feet long, I think, around that. But it's a smaller one. If you wanted to see an example of somebody converting that cargo trailer into a camper, that would be a good example to follow. So just follow the link and see what he's doing. It'll be interesting. So with this topic of keeping the camper cool, there's a lot of different ways of doing it. Some of them are more expensive, some of them are cheaper. I did mention some ideas of keeping your camper cool, and I put some links down below to show you some other ideas. This one is something I plan to do because it's goes beyond just insulating the cargo trailer really well. It's a cheaper way, actually. And even if your trailer is not insulated that well, at least you could implement this idea. Basically, the idea is just put it under shadow. I know it's a simple idea, and a lot of people put their they naturally want to put their trailer into a shadow area, like under some trees, behind a building or something where they get constant shadow. I didn't realize how effective this was until I had my trailer in front of some trees, but then later during the day it would be more exposed to the sun and it would still get really hot. And then there was a time I was living up in a loft in a garage, and the roof would get hit with that sun around 10 o'clock or something, and it would just get so hot in there, like a sauna. And so that concept of just that sun hitting the surface of that roof it just heats it up like an oven. So I'm going to share with you some ideas of what people have done. Basically putting a rack on top of this trailer and then putting either a tarp or boards or something to leave some shadow in there. And there has to be a gap between whatever's blocking the sun and the trailer, because you need to have that air gap between there. This is a concept that people use with wood burning stoves. If they want to keep the heat away from the walls, they usually put like a heat barrier of some kind, like made out of metal, reflective metal, or cement or something like that. But then there's an air gap between that barrier and the wall, and so the air can flow through there. And that's essentially the same idea. And if you could think of a way to get a tarp over this trailer and for there to be an air gap, and trying to cover it as much as possible and put it in a shadow, and have it be mobile with you. Go down to the links below. You'll see some ideas and examples of this, of people who live in the desert. And I have a friend who constantly lives in Arizona and other hot places. He's been doing that for about 5 or 6 years. So I'll put that link down below as well. He'll have some great insights on boondocking for long periods of time, and he'll share some experiences with that and some insights. He's a really good resource for some information and experience like that. I wanted to share this idea because it's going to be cheaper. You could do it immediately, and even if you plan on insulating your trailer, you could do this first off and still do it cheaply and still have some cool ability and just get going and living in it. So I keep harping on this, the idea of controlling the temperature, because it's going to be everything, either whether it's really hot or really cold. So I mention this a lot because when you're living in a camper trailer, whether it's hot or cold, you want to be comfortable. If it's really hot in the desert, you're going to be miserable if there's no shade. And I've had that experience too, where you just have nowhere to go with shade. And a lot of people have awnings to sit under, and that's to shade you and to have a place to go for shade, but it doesn't shade the trailer. And so you go inside the trailer and it's really hot, and it's really hard to keep it cool without consuming a lot of power. So just this one concept that I'm sharing with you will be able to keep it cool if it's shaded, and it'll be easier to cool down if you have an AC unit or just a evaporative cooler, I believe it's called, that uses less power. It still cools the air, and I'll share a link with that as well. Or using a fan to suck up into the air vents above and flow through that way. So that's another idea that I share as well. So anyway, try it out. Let me know what you think, and see if it works for you. And if you have any ideas about that, that'd be great. So one of the ideas that I wanted to experiment with was I wanted to use some of those military camo shade things. I don't even know what they're called yet, but I know what they look like. They use them for, in the military, in the field. They put up a tent, and then they put up a little shaded area to cover it with camo, which helps with concealment, but it also helps with shade. You could put something up like a pop-up tent or whatever, those little party tents or whatever that's set up over a table or something. Those are great, but they have a tendency to catch the wind when it comes through, and it acts like a parachute and it blows around. And so I thought of this military camo stuff, that it's like very airy and it lets air through, but it still provides like a shade as if you're under a tree. So I wanted to experiment with that idea, to maybe even use it to hang it over the trailer, and so it provides a shade just like a tree, but it still lets the air through, so it's not like pulling away and like ripping off or something. I want to experiment with that. I really like the idea. I want to do that. I haven't seen it yet on the internet, and it'd be really compact, and you could just set it up. It'd be really light. So anyway, that's just an idea. But anyway, just give me a like, and look at my other videos. They'll give some more information, and look down in the links below.